I think in everything that we do, and as we talked about earlier, the mayor being a representative, we should always fight to keep our money as close to home as possible, because the further it gets away, the less say we have on it. I think if we can keep it as close as possible as local level, and next bring it up to the state, and next federal, that should be our goal. And we should always be represented. Obviously, the mayor will have a say, more say than most of the individuals in this community. We do have representatives on the state level that also need to bring that issue up too. But once again, we've just got to be there. We've got to be represented, and we've got to make our voice heard and let them know what we're trying to do. And that is trying to keep our money as close to home as possible. And it goes back to what we're doing here in the city. We're sending it all out, and you know, it's said that I never promised to bring the taxes down, but provide you a value. Well, quite frankly, I'd like to decide how to spend my money on my own and not send it up the ladder and have somebody else decide that.
Shared revenue is vitally important to the city of La Crosse. We're in the top 10 typically of cities in the state of Wisconsin that received shared revenue this last year. We're going to receive $14 million of shared revenue toward our $68 million budget. That's about half of what the total property tax burden is at $33 million. So it's vitally important. I think that if you're looking at the system, it is an antiquated system, and I think the state of Wisconsin is looking at the possibility of changing the shared revenue formula because they're in dire straits. They have a $5.7 billion deficit, and certainly that's something that it concerns me. It certainly concerns a lot of municipalities around the state of Wisconsin. One of the things that the Alliance of Cities has brought up is the fact that there are other options out there, I think, to generate revenue, and I think one of those options may be to look at resort tax, similar to Wisconsin Dells. So resort tax within the city of La Crosse could raise $3 million, could reduce property taxes on the average $100,000 home by about $200.
Yes, in preparing for the opportunity that I may have been elected mayor, I did attend a couple of regional meetings. One was with Governor Doyle at UWL because everyone's concerned there as one of our regional employers and about the deficit. Wanted to hear what he feels is going to be happening at the state level. We definitely have benefited from this shared revenue. The other meeting was for state leaders and for municipalities, and that was looking at our tax structure in Wisconsin. We haven't changed it since 1924, so we haven't found any new ways to do things. I think people are looking at it. I think we need to support probably some overhaul of that. And I would also say, back to my earlier remarks, that I think we need to look locally at regional assessment. We have a high tax problem in the city of La Crosse, mainly because of the nonprofits and because everything's in the city. We need to look at regional assessment to kind of counteract that and make it a fair, equitable tax for everybody within the area.
Thank you. Thank you for the answered questions. We're now going to move into closing statements, and I'm afraid because of time, we're going to need to shorten that to 1 minute 30 seconds. So if you can keep your if you keep your comments to 1:30, if there's anything that is not covered, or if you just have a statement that you would like to make, we will start with Ms. Richmond.
Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the time given to us this evening. The three most important issues in the city of La Crosse that we are facing are the tax base. First and foremost, we need to reduce the tax burden on the taxpayers of La Crosse, stop the unnecessary spending, streamline city government, and insist on improving efficiencies of the departments, and work with our surrounding communities to reduce the duplication of services. That is by far the most important thing. We need to help the community, and we help the people that are on fixed incomes, and we need to do it now.
The mayor talked about the little engine that can. I'm going to be the big locomotive that'll get it done. We're going to take charge, and we're going to get the students involved. We're going to get the businesses involved. We're going to get other people from the county involved. We're going to form a commission, and we're going to look into bringing businesses here. There's a lot of things we're just not taking advantage of. There's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of minds to pick, but we just have to talk to them. We have to be open and friendly with our business community. They have to know that they can come and talk to us if there's a problem. Right now, I don't think that exists. And the other thing is, it goes back to sustainability. We want to hire a coordinator. Sustainability is great, but we're going to share services. There's just not enough shared services being done right now in the area, and that's would have to be something that's looked into. Thank you.
Well, what we need to do, I think, is move that 6th floor office down to the street. We need to talk to people, constantly be talking to people, getting ideas. The universities and the technical school, that's where all the brains are. We got to be talking to them guys. They're by far a lot sharper than most of us in this room, I think, except for maybe a couple of us. I mean, we need to go everywhere. Everybody's got an idea here. That's why we're all running for mayors, because we all have different ideas. And I think it's important that we get together with some new ideas and get things done. And that's why I'm the only person that's talked about term limits. And I think if we get a constant change of people in the city council and the mayor's office, we'll be good to go because of the constant change coming through with the new ideas. It's extremely hard to run against an incumbent, as I pointed out. It's quite a chore. And I really think that term limits is the best way to go. They got it right at the presidency, but it didn't trickle down to the rest of us. And I think it's time, 8 years of community service work on the council, I think that's enough. I think it's time for new ideas and new people. Thank you very much.
To close here tonight for myself, what I'd like to say, again, I think the most monumental thing that happened tonight is all 7 individuals sitting in front of you today, one of which is your next mayor, have agreed that the taxes in this city are too high. Now we can move forward and start doing something about it. We've admitted it, and now it's time to move on. Make no mistake about it, the mayor of this city has more influence than anybody else of what your tax levy will be. The budget that was submitted this cycle at $33.9 million, with a $33.9 million tax levy, was approved at $33.9 million. So there is accountability there. That budget that was submitted was approved, and if anybody tells me that I don't have any say over it, the council approves it, well, they approved it as it was submitted. So we do need to move forward. We do need to realize that there are people in this community that are suffering from high taxes, specifically the elderly, and we do have a responsibility to them. We have a responsibility to not take from them and to provide for them. And as a community, we need to move forward, reduce the tax burden on these individuals and ourselves so we can prosper again. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and WQET certainly for providing this opportunity for the voters of the city of La Crosse to be able to see the differences between the candidates. And I think that in looking at what we're doing here, I think it's something that's very important to the overall process. It's certainly been a privilege for me to be your mayor for the last 4 years, and I'd certainly like the opportunity to be your mayor for the next 4 years. And what I can guarantee you is that I'll continue to work on growth. I'll continue to work on taking homes out of the floodplain. I'm going to continue to work on creating opportunities for the people who live here. Certainly, I think that we all know that the city of La Crosse has challenges, and those challenges need to be met head on. We can only do that through communication and cooperation and consensus, not compromise. The city of La Crosse has got a city council certainly that changes. I mean, it's a changing council in that we've got a lot of freshmen council members, people who have not served long-term on city council. If you look at past mayors, the opportunities that Pat Zilke had as mayor here in the city of La Crosse with 30-year veterans serving on the city council, it makes such a difference. We don't have that luxury anymore. We've got so many freshman city council members that we need proven experience and proven leadership in the city of La Crosse, certainly to get us through hard economic times, and certainly to ensure that the city of La Crosse is going to continue to grow. I think that if we take the risk of not having a strong leader, not having a person that has the vision, the city of La Crosse may be a different place in the future.